Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. That's right. You hear that sound. You hear that man with that baritone voice bringing us in. It's us. It's me. It's Matt McSweeney. Like I said, Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast brought to you by the Hot Take Hot Box. I am joined by Ty Capone. Ty, how are you feeling? I know you had a great weekend watching Dan Argueta, get kind of worked over in some of the worst striking defense we've ever seen. And Montserrat Rendon, not to be confused with Anthony Rendon, taking a huge W this weekend. So it was a good weekend for you.
Yeah, Chris Liebens, huge L.
Yeah, we got to talk about that when we get there. I have that cooked up on the sheet right here of things to talk about.
Yeah, it turns out fighters might not be the best judges either. So it looks like we have to completely overhaul our thinking of this, how we're going to fix this judging system. But yeah, that was one of the. Also, we saw one of the worst. Not to be hyperbolic, one of the worst boxing decisions ever.
Really?
But it was a female fight. Nobody really, obviously, in the grand scheme of things, nobody really cares. But yeah, there was a really, really bad fight. Jessica McCaskill, I think that's her name, right? Jessica, Caskilla, whatever her name is, the female boxer. She had all the belts or whatever. I forget who she's with. Is it Matchroom? Hold on, yeah, Matchroom on DAZN, which is, of course, they're gonna just try to promote the A side. She was like minus 300. Yeah. She was like minus 300, and she fought a chick named Sandy Ryan, and apparently everybody thought Sandy Ryan won like 99-91, and it was a split draw with somebody giving it 97-93 to McCaskill. I watched some of the highlights. She lost like almost every round, and she got a split draw. So
there you go. That's boxing, and that's just combat sports. It seems when you go to the judges on any of these sports. It's not. You're asking for trouble. It's not good news, and we learned that throughout this. And Chris Lieben taught us a lesson in MMA again. That, like you said, these fighters aren't exactly the greatest minds in the game when it comes to judging a fight. It's not an easy job. We've never said that it's easy to sit there cage side and judge, but if it's going to be your job, I think you should probably have some things that you're good at and some things like no 10-8 rounds, on 10 things that aren't 10-8s and stuff like that. Just some basic stuff we ask for. And some consistency. Yeah. That's another thing that we ask for. But
too much to ask for.
And, they have different guys getting in there with different thoughts and opinions on every fight. So you never really know what you're walking into. But we got some what do you want to talk about first? Would you like to talk about fight news, or would you like to talk about some comments that we got on or some thoughts that were on the Grasso fight last week?
Let's start with that.
All right, yeah. So shout out to the college kids. We got a couple comments on those videos. We had a gentleman who didn't really speak English, it seemed, to tell us that Grasso got beat up and that she lost basically, which I don't think I agreed with anything. I don't even think Valentina really won. I just thought she didn't lose. That was my opinion. And you thought Grasso won 48-47, which was I don't think is that crazy of an opinion, because it just kind of seemed like Valentina gave it away. I didn't even think Valentina deserved the win, but I think the draw wound up being, even though how we got there was bad. We kind of talked about that. You can go back and watch that. But here we go. This is this is a Pokemon avatar. So just so you know what you're walking into. But this is how this gentleman starts the comment off.
Let's go.
I'm not going to watch a second of this video. So, right there, we know this guy is locked in, right?
He's pissed.
All right? I'm not going to watch a second of this bullshit, basically. I just want to ask, are you going to talk about how Mike Bell and the worst referee in UFC history, Sal D'Amato, which he's not a referee, but that's okay, Pokemon.
Yeah, thank God he's not.
Yeah, gave the fourth round to Valentina, ? So, and I'll just read the rest of this. As outrageous of a scorecard as the 10-8, except that more relevant because if they would have given the fourth round to Grasso, the 10-8 wouldn't have been that big of a deal for all these idiotic, not idiotic, idiotic
I like that.
people saying Shevchenko was robbed and here your little parenthesis action, and should be irrelevant anyways because Grasso clearly won 48-47. In what world did in what world Valentina won round? Question mark. Grasso landed more strikes, had multiple sub attempts. Val had 0. Took Valentina's back and slammed her on the ground. So I don't.
Val also did have a sub attempt.
Yeah, so I would like to hear your thoughts on Mr. Pokemon and what you what you think.
I wish.
I guess he won't hear this because he's not going to watch a second of any of these videos. But
well, if I remember correctly, I thought Grasso won the 4th round. I thought the 4th round was the decider.
Yes.
I thought it was very close. I thought that was the closest round. Let me try to go back and see how the judges. I think 2 of the judges gave the 4th to Valentina.
I think that's what he's saying. Mike Bell and the worst referee, Sal D'Amato. So I mean,
I don't like either of those 2 refs.
Yeah, I would love to see Mr. D'Amato in the octagon with the black shirt on, ready to just get in there in case anything happened.
Yeah, Junichiro Kamijo, I feel like him and I were spot on here. 2, 4, and 5 I gave to Alexa Grasso. I don't know. I thought the 5th or the 4th round was very close. Let's try to bring up these.
That's the round where she landed the knees that they went back and said they were legal because her hand wasn't really bearing weight and all that, and it was kind of like a.
She also got a takedown in that round, so I feel like she landed the damage. She landed the bigger, the better, more the more, if that makes sense. More shots. I thought she won that round. I mean, she almost had as much control as Valentina did. I think she might have gotten her back. No, she didn't get her back taken. That was round 3. I agree, Mr. Pokemon. I think Team Grasso won the 4th. I don't know. I don't know how only one judge gave her the 4th, but like you said, Mike Bell and Sal D'Amato, not good.
Good. I mean, we kind of talked about that too, but I mean, my whole opinion basically of that was I would not argue if somebody said that Grasso should have won the 4th round. I don't think, I really don't have an opinion on that. I was just more talking about the fact that you could say the 10-8 shouldn't have mattered, but it did matter. So that's why I was that's why I think that's a huge deal. And I just, not even for this fight specifically, if that's how we're doing this, with those 10-8s, then that's a big concern. That's something we need to know when we're going to bet on these fights, because it's just if the guy controls the guy for 3 minutes of a round, then that's a 10-8. It's not exact. I mean, if the crowd starts cheering behind you, it's a 10-8. I don't know. It's just a little bit of a concern, I'd say. But I always like to say shout out to Pokemon and all the people out there who, I mean, he doesn't listen apparently, but some of you people out there that are right now listening, feel free to comment on YouTube's probably the best way. So find us on the YouTube and go in there and tell us you're a fucking moron. And I'll read all of them for as long as I can. If we ever became big and these became 100 comments in here, I'd read as many of them as I could. I really love reading, but shout out to Pokemon. Thank you for your thoughts. And, I hope you listen one day. I really do. I hope you give us a chance. But we got some fight news, Ty, before we get into the Fiziev and Gamrot card. But Ian Machado, Gary. This is the night of the Leon Edwards fight, right? Leon Edwards, Royval. That's a loaded card. Paddy Pimblett and Tony Ferguson, which we're going to talk about in a second. But Vicente Luque and Ian Machado, Gary. What are your thoughts on that just right off the rip? Do you it feels like it's a good matchup for Mr. Machado, I'm sorry. But I guess I would ask you, do you agree? And I don't know. I mean, I guess it all comes down to what version of Mr. Luque is going to show up, because the version that showed up last time, who was more, controlled and wasn't ready to just go to war with people, that's the version that is scary compared to the other one who just kind of stands there like a punching bag. So I guess this seems like another Machado decision, if you ask me.
I love that we're calling him Machado. I think this is a pretty tough test. I think it's a much tougher test than what Paddy Pimblett's getting.
For sure, yeah.
Luque did look pretty good. I know it was against a RDA that's, should probably not be fighting at 170, or he's just too small, 170, he's old. But after those back-to-back losses to Bilal and Jeff Neal, I thought Luque was cooked, man. That's why I bet RDA. But I think Luque could provide him with some different looks. I mean, Luque has nasty front chokes that he can pretty much get anybody with. I think he has a lot of power in his hands. His striking in general is not the best. I mean, his strikes landed is almost dead center with his strikes absorbed, 5.17 to 5.15. His percentages: strike accuracy 52, striking defense 52. His takedown accuracy 60, his takedown defense 62. So he's kind of like solid everywhere, but I do have concerns with his durability. The problem is I don't know if Ian Gary will push that. He really needs to be aggressive and get a finish. I think if people want to take him serious, or more seriously, I should say.
Yeah, especially after that Neil Magny situation. That was like he had that guy dead to rights and was just kicking his leg and letting him get back up, and then
terrible.
Like it was kind of wound up being a snooze fest where you're just like, is this guy really seriously not gonna? I mean, I had decision, so I was happy, but it was just I even was like, dude, he's got to finish him here. Like this guy is limping around the octagon. He's got nothing for him. So
if he fights how he did against D-Rod, going with the head kick, I think that could be really beneficial for him. I will say though, I think what's Ian Gary's reach? Yeah, he's gonna be the taller fighter by like 4 or 5 inches, but he has a shorter reach than Vicente Luque. He only has 6 fights in the UFC. I think Luque has 20. So it's gonna be a really tough test. I know some people are probably gonna pick Ian Gary to walk through. I'd definitely consider a play on Luque depending on what the odds are.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet.
When's the last time Luque got a sub? I guess it was 2 Darces when he darsed Woodley and Chiesa. Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing it. I could see him pulling off a sub. I mean, he averages almost one submission attempt per 15. So, he definitely likes to strike, definitely likes to stand, but he took RDA down 8 times, had easy success there. I think he was 8 of 11, 12 minutes of control time. So I feel like that could definitely be, I guess we'll just see how Ian Gary's takedown defense is, how his grappling defense is. And it's a huge, huge step for him. It's, I don't know. I think he might be able to outpoint Luque if he stays on the outside. But again, Luque has that 75-inch reach. So he likes to throw some nasty low kicks himself. He's a mean dude in there.
Yeah.
But sometimes his performance is a little inconsistent. I think the Jeff Neal fight was not great. I thought he did better he did better against Bilal, I think, than he did against Luque. I mean, Jeff Neal, he outstruck Bilal, especially at distance. He couldn't stop the takedowns, and then once he got taken down, he was pretty much controlled from there, and basically lost all the rounds that he was doing well in. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure who I got. I think I might go with Luque just because I kind of have to.
I think it's a fight that depends on the odds. It seems like a Luque money line, if it's like plus 200, would be very enticing. But if it's maybe plus 130, 40, if it's like a closer line, then I think an Ian Gary decision probably would look like a nice little bet there. But honestly, it's going to come down to what kind of odds they're giving us on fight night, and we will make our decision then. But we have a couple more to discuss. I guess we'll do Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson. I'm seeing this. There is a lineup for this. Paddy's going to be a minus 380 favorite over Tony Ferguson. Another sort of layup that they're kind of trying to set up Paddy Pimblett for. But I got to say, though, Ty, this is not going to be as easy as we think it's going to be, I think. I mean, I think he should. I mean, obviously should win. But if you look, Tony Ferguson has dropped his last 2 opponents. And Paddy can take a shot. We've seen that before. But Paddy is also a guy who leaves his chin up there. And is he going to be able to get that submission that it seems like he hunts on a consistent basis against a lot of these guys? I don't know. This is going to be fascinating by the time it rolls around. It's obviously he should win, but I guess I'm a little bit more intrigued by this than I guess maybe the average person. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to steamroll him, but I guess you never know, right? I mean, Tony still can hit, and we saw Paddy, his striking defense against Jared Gordon. Not great. So, I mean, anything can happen, right? Anything is possible. And if it goes to the ground, I think Tony, I don't know, man. I feel like some of his jiu-jitsu, I don't want to say it's overrated, but he just does a lot of, flailing around,
It used to be much better than it is now. I don't know if he's not training it as much or whatever, but it's obvious that he's kind of washed up. That is,
yeah,
that is the case.
I would say. I think Patty should get a win here. I mean, it's a big fight for him too. I know it's kind of a layup. It's kind of a setup fight for him, but like we've seen how many times that doesn't necessarily go the way it's supposed to. Like I could see him getting dropped. I could see him getting clubbed and subbed. Like Tony Ferguson is. If there's anything, he's still fucking tenacious. He's still the same psychopath he always was. He's still going to try and get in there and get a win. He needs a win. How many fights has he lost in a row? Like 6?
Who, Tony? I'm not sure. I don't have that. I could pull it up real quick, but it seems.
I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I mean, has anybody lost 7 in a row in the UFC ever? Like, I would be very interested to see if that's ever been done. I mean, he hasn't won since 2019. He hasn't won since before COVID.
Yeah.
So, like.
That was the line of demarcation there where he kind of just fell off after that.
And the guy he beat was Cowboy, so.
Yeah. And
before that was Pettis. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, he needs this. He needs to get off the schneid, if you will. I don't know, man. It's a tough task.
And this, I don't know if we talked about this last time. I feel like this got made in between the last time we talked and the last pod or whatever. But Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to be on that card as well. On that card, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is all UFC, 296?
296?
I think. But Shavkat Rakhmonov's fighting Wonderboy. Now, this seems like a little bit of a fuck you to to Mr. Wonderboy, but he accepted the fight, so maybe
he thinks... people saying he was ducking the smoke? Who was he supposed to fight? Or he declined the fight? Was it Michelle Pereira, right?
No, it was somebody night of the fight. It was Ian Gary.
Oh, it was Ian Gary.
Because he said he wanted to fight him, and he was like, "No, I'm not fighting Ian Gary." So,
but it's crazy though. Like everyone, but I thought he was supposed to fight Michelle Pereira twice, right?
Yeah, but then Michelle Pereira missed weight and stuff, so he was like, "Nah." I'm not.
Everyone's like, "Oh, he doesn't want to fight him because he missed weight, and he doesn't want to fight Ian Gary. He's scared of all these guys." Now he's fighting Shavkat. Now it's like, okay, never mind. This guy's better than all the guys he refused to fight. He must be getting a nice sum of money because nobody wants to fight Shavkat. And obviously, Wonderboy's not taking this fight for anything less than if I would have to guess, $500K, maybe more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think speaking of Shavkat, his sister pulled out of tomorrow's fight on the Contender Series, unfortunately. So that
sucks.
That's a bummer. Yeah. A lot of people said she was on Fraud Watch. Also.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. Who knows, right? She might not be as good as Shavkat's. Shout out to Sora, that's her name. But I think Shavkat's going to smoke him. I think he's probably going to eat some shots. I think maybe it's going to be tough to figure out the distance a little at first. Wonderboy's so good at creating distance and keeping distance and just distance management in general. He's good at getting out of the way. He's still pretty athletic for his old age. Like I think he's 41, right? Which is, I feel like we haven't seen a fighter at that age look like him. Like he looks young in the face. He hasn't really taken much damage for how old he is and for how long he's been in combat sports. I would say, again, I don't know that for a fact, but he has suffered some injuries, like obviously, but I don't know. I feel like he's a young 40, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, and he's only been KO'd off that one kind of freakish Anthony Pettis Superman punch off the
Never
cage.
been submitted.
No.
So this to me another tough test for one of these young prospects, one of these hammers. I believe I had Shavkat winning the belt before the year ended. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or in the next year. I forget. It was one of them.
It was by the end of 2023. Who would be the champion? You have Shavkat, I believe.
Yes, sir. So we need to expedite that. I think if he finishes Wonderboy, polishes them off. I mean, 170. Nobody's doing anything at 170. And finally, they got Leon and Colby made. But I think the Shavkat, if he gets a big finish, a statement, if he fucking chokes him to sleep or knocks him out, do you think he gets he puts himself in contention? Because all it takes is just to be around, just to be active, just to be like there. They're not going to be like, oh, Shavkat, you're not ready. We can't give you a title shot because if Leon's going to wait, if Cole, like whatever happens with the Leon Colby fight, and then everybody else is just waiting, like what are we going to do?
I think he would need probably one more in theory. I mean, you have Hamzat up there at 4, who's kind of just eating a spot up, so I really don't count him in this whole thing.
Yeah, he's not even at 170.
No, he's not, and he's probably never coming back, I would imagine. So basically have Shavkat in the top 5, and he's fighting a guy who's right behind him at 6. You know, even though I know people are going to be like, well, it says 7. You understand what I just said. So, Kamaru, Bilal, one of those guys maybe next. Or honestly, like you said, if he goes out and finishes this guy in dramatic fashion, I could see him jumping there because those guys like Usman and Burns and all them that want to sit on their spots and not fight anyone, it's going to come back to like Dana will keep passing these guys up because he's not going to reward you by having you just sit around and wait. Like I don't think Usman's necessarily doing that. You've seen him kind of say he'll fight this guy or that guy, but he doesn't want to fight Burns again because that's his boy. And I assume somebody has to fight Bilal, and Burns was it Burns that just fought him? Yeah, right. He was injured or something like that. He hurt his shoulder, or I forget what it was, but yeah.
Sand.
I think Usman Bilal. If Bilal does, wants to sit around and keep waiting, if not, then I think him and Usman, then or Bilal and Shavkat. Depending on how this goes, but it's good to see 170 get going again because it was kind of like we talked about it in a stalemate. Nobody was really doing anything in there, and I really just hope they don't reward these people for sitting around and standing on their spots, but. That's pretty much all the fight news that we have, I believe. So
they also added Cody Durden and Tajir Ulanbekov to that card, which is a sneaky good fight. Good fight. Cody Durden's been on a tear lately. Also, a pretty good dude from everything I've gathered. So big fan there. Hope he does well. Vyacheslav Borshev, your boy Slava, is fighting Nazim Sadikov at 295. That's going to be a sneaky banger. They're really trying to beef up 295 and 296 after this 18 week? No, how long? 8 week? No. How long did we just go without a break of fights?
Oh, I don't know.
Like a couple months.
It felt like the whole summer.
Time.
Yeah. It's.
So now we're going to take a break this week, thank God, and then get back in there. Waldo Cortez Acosta and Andrei Arlovsky. That's being made.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wait, what?
Sean Brady, Kelvin.
No. Andrei Arlovsky? Oh my God.
Yeah, he's.
I thought he was done.
I got one more in me, he said. Kelvin
Vince
Gastelum,
Carter.
Sean Brady. That'll be an interesting, very, very interesting Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum, December 2nd. I'm not sure who I got there. I think Sean Brady, but Kelvin Gastelum's a fucking dog. So, who else? Clay Guida. He said, I got one more left in me. He's fighting Joaquim Silva on December 2nd as well. Not sure why, but...
They're really beefing up that whole December 2nd card because they knew that Misha Tate and Julia Avila being a main event is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. So
Cannonier and Delize.
Or I guess it's technically not. They don't really have a main event for that. Technically, they're all just kind of 3-5 minutes. So I guess they'll decide who the main event is at some point. Who knows though?
Jake Matthews, Michael Morales, also a pretty good scrap. Rob Font and Figueiredo also welcome Figgy to a new division. That'll be interesting. Khalil Roundtree, Azamat Mirzakhanov. This is one that we have all of the interest in. Matt Steamroller Frivola against Benoit Saint-Denis.
That's awesome.
That is a fucking... whatever the under 1.5 or even the half around, I'm smashing that thing. Somebody's going to sleep or somebody's getting rocked very early.
Yeah. Fight does not start the second round is going to be the bet there that night, it seems. But... I think I'm going to be on Saint Denis for the record ahead of time. I'm just going to let you know that so that you don't get upset when you bet the Steamroller. I know you're a big Steamroller guy, and I support him as well, but I cannot leave the God of War.
I don't think I can either.
Himself. Yeah, no, it's just.
I don't think I can either.
It's a personal battle, and there you go. So I guess is that all? I think we can get into this slop fest that was this UFC Vegas 79. With all due respect, of course, to everyone involved, but it's just kind of another main event that's marred in, not necessarily even controversy, just kind of we don't get the result that we wanted. Rafael Fiziev, his knee literally explodes in the second round, and Mateusz Gamrot gets a TKO victory via leg injury. I guess we got to see 7 minutes of this fight before this injury happened. I thought Fiziev looked good. I thought this fight was... I feel like they were just about to get going. It was just kind of... They were wading their way into the storm a little bit. Gamrot was his relentless self, kind of catching those kicks and trying to force those little single leg, like literally picking his leg up all the way above his head and stuff. Like, and Fiziev's balance was unbelievable. I saw people saying, "Oh, maybe he hurt his foot on the elbow and stuff." But when you saw the replay, you realized, oh my God, he hurt the leg, his plant leg, on that kick, and it just you see his. I don't know if it was his quad or I'm no doctor, but it kind of just popped, and that was it for Rafael Fiziev. So we take I take that loss on the TKO bet. And
I'm glad I stayed away. Main event curse, man. The apex is cursed for main events.
It seems like it.
Especially when one of us bet on one of the fighters, they always get hurt. Literally every time. I stayed away, but you couldn't. You had to get sucked into the curse.
Yep.
I was on Ortega, and I was also on, was it Aspinall? Who else? Somebody else. There was another one.
Oh, what's it called? Yair and Ortega. We had Ortega.
Yep. That was fun. So very unfortunate. I feel like Fiziev was doing pretty well, but again, like you said, it hadn't really gotten started. So that sucks. That truly is the fucking worst thing to happen. And now, hopefully, he doesn't miss too much time. But it's not like you can run that fight back in a couple months. So I don't know. I guess you treat it as a win. Not a great win, but it's a win nonetheless for Mateusz Gamrot by KO, TKO. If you had him inside the distance, there you go.
Well, you don't tell that Mateusz Gamrot that it's not a big win, because that man celebrated like he just won the Super Bowl after that guy's knee blew out. So it was quite a spectacle there to see. 55 is another division that's going to kind of seem like it's on a holding pattern now. After that Gaethje-Poirier fight, you really don't know what's next. I mean, is Beneil lined up for anyone yet? I don't believe so.
I thought he was.
I mean, I know they're talking about different guys and whatnot, but I feel like he was supposed to fight like Saruki or something like that, but I don't think so. So
yeah, I don't think there's yeah.
So I mean, look,
I think there was a rumor, but I think it was just
nothing was ever really made. So it seems like that division's going to be in a little bit of a holding pattern. So maybe a guy like Gamrot, who didn't really take much damage on Saturday night, could probably pop back in there and take advantage of that kind of, I don't know, power vacuum, I guess, because it seems like there's not like, Gaethje, Poirier. I mean, Gaethje seems like he's next for whoever wins that fight in October. Yeah. If it's Islam, even better for him, because it's a fresh matchup. Maybe not matchup wise, it's not better because that's hell to fight a guy like Islam Makhachev, but. He has the loss to Charles Oliveira. Poirier's just there, so maybe somebody could fight Poirier if that's what Poirier wants to do. But you never know. You really don't know what Poirier's up to now. Chandler's waiting for McGregor. He'll be probably never fight again. And Fiziev, it's just kind of another holding pattern situation. So it seems like, and it just sucks. I would like to have seen Fiziev go out on a sword and just get knocked out, as opposed to something like this where we are like, who knows what would have happened, kind of a situation. So, it sucks.
Also, shout out to Joe Martinez. They should have had him do the Noche card, and I will stand by that.
Oh, I agree with you, but he's not the better ring announcer, so I will.
No, he's just the best.
No, he's not. But Michael Diamante is. But
David Diamante, come on.
Whatever the fuck his name is, who cares? Bryce Mitchell, the Holy Roller. How about him, man? Getting in there with his Bible after the fight.
Why did he bring that into the ring? Did nobody see that? That shouldn't be allowed.
Well, I mean, I guess you really can't.
But you can bring the Bible.
Yeah, you really can't stop these guys from doing whatever.
Did he sneak it in his trunks or something?
Who knows? I got my Bible with me. You're like, oh boy. It's funny. I went back and watched it later, but during the fight, I didn't have the sound on watching the fights. I had the dual monitor going on with the Notre Dame game. Not going to talk about that right now. But tune in to tomorrow's episode if you want to hear what I have to say about that. But all in all, Bryce Mitchell, I think did exactly what we thought he could do or should do in a sense. Dan Ige, it's tough matchup when you're fighting Bryce Mitchell. He is relentless. His takedowns are just aggressive, strong. He's very good, with the wrestling and on the ground. Although like we've talked about, Ige was able to get back up at some points, but it doesn't really matter when you just spent 2 minutes on the ground. You're winning minutes, and Bryce Mitchell seems like a good minute winner. And he may not get a lot of finishes because it just seems like that's the way. But he looked good on Saturday.
Yeah, he
got chipped up a little bit though.
Yeah, he was getting marked up, and man, I just if you were holding a Dan Ige ticket, you were just begging for him to not get taken down and and controlled, and that's exactly what happened. And very, very unfortunate. He landed, I think, 4 total strikes in the third round. Low output, but while they were standing, man, Ige was definitely cracking him and winning the striking exchanges. But yeah, he just, typical Dan Ige fashion, can't put it together, can't put more than one round or even a round together. His takedown defense, 58%. Again, a lot of people thought Nate Landwehr let him off the hook without, when he didn't try to grapple at all. And I agreed. So, I think Dan Ige is probably trending downwards, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's just a tough, it's tough for him. That's a tough matchup. If you match him up with somebody who wants to stand and bang, he's going to have success. But he's also kind of small. It seems he's small for that 45 division. So, I don't know. I mean, at least him in stature. He's 5'7". May have a good reach, but that only does you so much. But how about Marina Rodriguez? I mean, you want to talk about a fucking beatdown. This was about as ugly as it gets. Let me just say, I want to go out and say this first. Don't want to see Michelle Waterson-Gomez back in the octagon anymore. I think she's done what she needs to do. She took one of the worst beatings I've seen, and I'm so glad I didn't bet. I wish I would have bet the TKO, obviously, but this was just ugly, Ty. This is real ugly. She was bad elbows, straight hand, wherever she wanted to. Like, she couldn't stop
any of those knees.
Thing. Yeah, those knees. That's right. Oh, my God.
Those were vicious. And, she's a savage. She's got the heart of a warrior. But that's not going to – she's lost 6 of 7 now. And the only win was a split against Angela Hill, which could have went either way.
Yeah.
Like, she could be on a 7-fight losing
Don't
streak.
tell that to Angela Hill, by the way.
No, absolutely do not. I think there's almost just a car accident right out front of my balcony. But 7 in a row. I mean, nobody wanted to see the rematch because the first fight, she didn't win at all. They ran it back, and she gets steamrolled even easier, even quicker. And the last fight with Luana Pinheiro was close, but she outstruck her. But she wasn't landing the damaging shots. That's always been her problem. She has her style, but she gets hit hard. She doesn't throw anything back, really. I mean, does she have any finishes in the UFC? Yeah, I guess it's kind of funny. Her first 4 wins in the UFC, her first 4 fights in the UFC, she got 4 subs. Tyra Parker, whoever the fuck that is, that was under the Strikeforce banner. I gotcha. Okay, that's why. Her first 2 fights in the UFC, she also had an Invicta armbar over Jessica Penne. Angela Magana, not sure who that is, and Paige Van Zandt. So that's her wins, her finishes. Yeah, not great. She also had Paige Van Zandt and Michelle Waterson was a UFC on Fox main event.
So what people have told me is Paige's content has escalated as well. Some people have told me that.
I'll have to check her only pipes. But,
my sources have told me.
My sources my boots on the ground. My sources have told me that her content. Kay Hansen also starting to up her game. Working in the gym. I'm not sure which gym, but she's
okay. I don't know. Yeah, you never know when she's saying when you say up her game. It's like, well, is she still fighting or what is what's going on here?
Fears not. Fears those days are over. Also, yeah, but I agree with you. Michelle Waterson-Gomez, don't think she should fight anymore. That was just a mauling. And after the fight, she's like, I'm in good spirits. She made some kind of some kind of inspirational quote message about the seed being blossomed or blooming.
It's over.
I don't know. She got it's over. You got fucking shellacked and smoked throughout the cage. Somehow made it into the second round. Not sure how that happened, but I feel like the ref. Was it Kerry Hatley? I feel like he could have stepped in a little sooner, but honestly, Michelle Waters, I guess she was, she didn't die, so he's like, oh, she's fine. But maybe he had a Marina Rodriguez round 2 ticket. I'm not sure, but she got battered.
Yeah, she got beat up pretty bad. Like I said, don't want to see her anymore. And Marina Rodriguez, I'll have to see her do it to somebody who's not 37. So when that happens, I'll feel better about it. But I mean, what is it? This is 115. It's just kind of that middle of the rankings. There is just a clusterfuck. It's just people hopping in and out of spots, and you never know what version of who's going to show up on a given night. So, how about Brian Battle? You keep disrespecting Brian Battle, and every time he goes out there and just does what the people want him to do. I really do think though that AJ Fletcher just. You really can't. You're really fighting an uphill battle when you're fighting a guy that has a 10-inch reach advantage on you and is just that much bigger than you as a human being. I don't know if
He was
AJ
doing well.
Fletcher should. Yeah, I just don't know if he should be at 70. I don't know.
No, probably not.
I mean, I don't know if he can get the 55, but I would try if I were him. It's just not. It's not good. The guys are only more powerful and bigger the higher up in the rankings you go. If you can't take out Pooh Bear, then you got some problems.
No, but didn't he don a new nickname? The Barbarian? No, the Butcher. Brian the Butcher Battle. I kind of like that. I mean, Pooh Bear is just. I mean, that's just bad. The Butcher is at least if he's butchered people before, right? So I feel like it can kind of stick. And Brian Battle Butcher. What's that called? Alliteration. Also coming down from 185, and Fletcher probably should be at 155. I mean, listen, Fletcher was doing pretty well early because, like I said, Brian Battle was on his back foot. Not really. He wasn't throwing his hands at all. Just throwing just teep kicks up the Mitchell up the middle, which were working. I mean, Fletcher's body was red because he's very pale, but I thought he won the first round, or at least made it close because he landed a couple. He knocked him down right with that elbow inside, right off the clinch break. And I was like, man, good shit, AJ Fletcher, we're doing good. And then he got taken down and just back taked, and that was just. Well, the second round started. Brian Battle came out way more aggressive. He was actually coming forward. When he does that, he's pretty good. It's just a consistency thing. I think also he's a slow starter, so just some things to work on for him. But I mean, listen, he's getting things done at 170. It's sometimes a dormant division, and he has some tools to work with, and he's doing pretty well. Like you said, I have counted him out. I keep doing it. Maybe I shouldn't. He's won 2 in a row. I think he's 5-1 in the UFC.
No, yeah, you will.
Absolutely. Especially if he runs it back with Renat, he's cooked. But
I mean, who the
we should make that fight.
No, we shouldn't.
No,
the Gladiator.
Yeah, Ian Gary Brian Battle next. I don't know, but good win for him. Bad loss for AJ Fletcher out of Louisiana. So if you did fade him because of the Louisiana fade, congratulations.
Well, I had decisions, so. Last time I bet, listen, this was a card that made me regret ever betting decisions, and I won't do it again, ladies and gentlemen. Charles Jourdain with the submission victory. I think I had inside the distance on this, but I didn't write it down, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. I feel like I took it though. That's what I'm gonna have to go back and listen for verification because it seemed like I was all on that when I bet it, and then I look back at the sheet later and I'm like, what the fuck happened here? But hey. Easy guillotine victory for your boy. What say you, Ty?
Yeah, it's weird. He was threatening it for so long. I figured Jourdain or Ramos would know what's going on and not continue to keep his neck and bury his neck deeper, and he kept doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know what was it. Was it a Ezekiel choke? No. What did he have before it? It wasn't a Dars, was it? It could have been. I forget. Like he kind of had it in. I forget. Dominic Cruz did a really good job of this fight, because I didn't think it was him. I was like, you know what? He's an idiot. He's just going to pop his head out. Getting a guillotine here is really hard, especially against Ramos. And Dom Cruz kept saying, that's in. And man, huge statement for Charles Jourdain to tap Ricardo Ramos. It's kind of like a panic tap. Like he tapped, and as soon as he tapped and Jourdain let go, he was like, obviously he wasn't going to sleep or anything. So. I'm not saying he shouldn't have tapped because obviously that thing was in tight. Also, he had, he was kind of threatening it for like 3-4 minutes. So obviously there was a lot of pressure, and Jourdain's still young, man. He's 95? I think he was born in 95. Like we've always been high on him, and obviously he's had his ups, he's had his downs, but that's kind of what has to happen when you're in your mid 20s. I think I'd much rather see that than, the Ian Gary approach where you're fighting a bunch of cans, not necessarily cans, but easy matchups. And then not doing great in those matchups. Charles Jourdain, quick finish over Ricardo Ramos. So, yeah, big win. I mean, Ricardo Ramos, a bit of a fraud, I think.
Yeah, that was kind of what I thought going into it, and it kind of proved it for me.
Yeah, bounced back after that Crone-Gracie fight, which was not his fault, but he gets a finish here. And, I mean, listen, this is our boy. So we'll see if he can continue to make strides at featherweight.
This is while I did have the sound on, but I got to say, man, another great night for Dominic Cruz for the fights that I did watch with the sound. He's awesome, man. And honestly, he kind of keeps Bisping in check when Bisping's in there, because Bisping starts going crazy sometimes, and you're like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, it's kind of like how.
Oh my lord! Oh my god!
Yeah, and also when they start talking about grappling positions, I really only want to hear Dominic Cruz talk about, what basically what's going on. Telling me what's going on in grappling exchanges. When Bisping talks, I'm like, I don't think you really know what you're
Bisping's
talking
like,
about.
why aren't they standing? You're like, all right. Oh, Jesus, dude. There is more to this than just throwing fucking hammers at each other, bro.
Other than Dom Cruz saying, I don't think Rose is going to get slammed on her head here 3 seconds before she got slammed on her head.
She's fine here.
He's done.
She's having a seizure. You're like, okay, well, you fucking lied to me, dude.
I think he's, other than that, he's done really well. My favorite grouping might be Felder, Anik, and Cruz, honestly, or Felder, Anik, and Senko. I think Felder, Cruz, Felder, Senko. I think that those three have great chemistry and they work really well together. Obviously, all being former fighters. I know Bisping was too, but he's just I don't know. He's kind of like DC.
Love when Felder's in there too. Yeah, you're right. I think
he's the man. He's also getting back in that cage, baby.
I know. How about that, man? He wants the UFC 300. I mean, that's good. It sounds like that card's going to be 6 hours or 16 hours long, I should say. It's going to be a fucking all-day affair.
I have to gear off for that one, but
you might have to come up for that one. We might have an all-time party here at my crib just to fucking go.
By the prelim main event, we're gonna be fucking.
I'll have a live pod with fucking 35 people in the pod.
We'll do.
Screaming.
We should get as many people as we can, right? That'd be very unfiltered. I feel like we wouldn't even be allowed.
No, I think people would get arrested if I had some of these people that watch these fights with me on there. So they'd be like, "Wait, you're recording me?" I'd be like, "Yeah, dude, told you that when you came here." Oh shit.
Yeah, the flashing lights and camera, are they not evident?
Yeah.
Also, we would have to take a shot every time. Well, so we have to make drinking games for sure.
Then, my god, yeah, I would be absolutely fucking nuked by the time. God knows. What do you think the main event? We'll talk about that another time. I wonder what the main event for something like that would be. It'd have to be something huge, man. Brock,
Conor and Topuria.
Conor and Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it moving.
Floyd Mayweather and Ronda Rousey.
The fight that the people have been waiting for. I'm gonna beat her ass, man. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna take it easy on her. I'm gonna beat her fucking ass. You're like, okay, here we go.
All right.
All right, Floyd. It's nothing out of normal for you, man. You like to put your hands on women. Shout out. All right. How about Miles Johns taking out Dan Argueta? He kind of just had enough to beat him. Miles Johns didn't. I mean, this was a gritty performance from him. I think he looked good in this fight. Dan Argueta is just kind of a relentless pace fighter who has, I think you said this, no striking defense at all. He just kind of stands there and eats shots. But his
Bisping kept saying he's just coming in like a zombie.
Yeah,
like a zombie. I love when he says the word zombie. I think it's so funny. He's just walking in like a zombie. And dude,
he kept
doing it. It was like the most predictable thing. Like he would come, like the way he would walk forward was very aggressive, and he was like he would move his body a little bit side to side, and then he would just get fucking countered every time, and then he would just keep doing it. And I'm like, bruh, what are we doing here? Like, Miles Johns, I think, got very tired after that first. Was it right away? There was just a grappling exchange, like a big scrum, right? They just kept trying to.
Well, yeah, and then Argueta ended up on his back, like on the cage, and then ended up on the ground on his back. And I mean, I feel like Argueta probably won the first round, or he could have, because then Miles Johns got up and landed some good shots. But I mean, Argueta was on his back for it felt like 2 to 3 minutes of that round, and I mean, but it didn't really matter because Miles Johns won those last 2 rounds pretty handedly, and he was landing whenever he wanted. And Argueta, I would say, didn't get like completely dominated, but it's just he has some serious holes in his game that are going to hold him back.
Absolutely, yeah. This was again, the fact that he was the favorite, I thought was crazy. But shout out to Miles Johns, catch that ticket. I wish I put $5 million on it because I was very, very confident in him getting this win. And
his striking is like wild though. It kind of like worked out for him. He just throws
very loopy,
wild looping shots. Yeah, it's just if he's one of those guys. He's like a fucking keg, man. If he threw straight like right down the chute, he'd probably knock people the fuck out, man. But he just, I don't know. What are you gonna do? But how about the Dirty Bird, Tim Means, man? You had this one as well. Look, Falaho stinks, and I should have known this. I said it the last time that he fought, but he can't. I mean, I won't even say he can't take a shot because that knee, the first knee, I think it was in the second round that landed, or I don't remember what round, but it was a bomb, and he got wobbled, but he stayed upright and he survived it. But the knee was there the whole time, and Tim Means landed it a couple more times before he eventually ended the fight in the third round with it. Tim Means was throwing heat. He was eating shots that weren't really affecting him. Fialho just stinks, man. I just think, he got vetted out by Tim Means. Tim Means still has it. He's not, it's not going to be an easy night out when you go fight Tim Means, but that was a guy who had just lost 3 in a row, and he just came out and dominated Andre Fialho. So maybe there's not a spot for Mr. Fialho in the UFC.
Yeah, I think he's probably an LFA fella. Honestly, maybe Bellator or PFL, whatever they're doing, can sign him. But I was kind of impressed by him. Like, he had moments where he had Tim Means on the cage or on the retreat, and he was landing some good shots. But he's very basic. Like I said before, he kind of throws like that heavy right kick, left hook, and that's like it, like a right uppercut maybe, or a big right. He just swings kind of wild. He has power, but he just doesn't know how to hone it to his best ability. And other than that, he just doesn't really have anything. Like, his striking defense is just absolutely abysmal. Tim Means landed 72% of his significant strikes, and Tim Means swings wild sometimes. So just great finish for the Dirty Bird. He still has a little bit left in him. I'm not sure how much, got
a little bit.
Not too much, but just enough to really get you by Mr. Andre Fialho. Also, nobody knows how to say his name, so.
Yeah, neither do I, and I don't know. I don't know what they do with Tim Means next. I imagine they're going to feed him to some young animal next time. It always seems like that's the way. It's like, oh, you got to win back. Okay, we can market this, and then it's just like, oh, he's fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov. You're like, wait, whoa, what? Like, what are we doing here? Or, somebody along those lines, maybe a Miguel Baeza or something like that, which would probably be a good matchup, but. I'd like to see what they do with Tim Means next, but I think it's going to be something along those lines. This was gross and disgusting. Cody Brundage wins this fight via illegal elbow to the back of the head. Now, let me just say, that was an illegal elbow. It was. And it landed pretty hard. I think we can all agree. But you could tell right away that this fight was not going to be going good for Cody Brundage. And, he did his thing, like we said. He's going to go out. He's going to give him his all for the first minute or two, and then he's going to completely gas out. He's going to be a 2-pump chump. He's going to bust his load, and then he's just going to have Jacob Malkoun on his back, smashing him out.
Sounds like my prom night.
Yeah, and it just seems like Cody Brundage has that quit in him, man. We say that people have that dog in him. Cody Brundage does not have that dog in him. He's
got that cat in him.
Yeah, he's going meow. Yeah, it's not. Dude, there are so many situations where he just quits, and it seems like this is a situation where he quit. And you could say he had the right to or whatever. Obviously he won this fight via illegal elbow, but now he's like deleting comments on his Instagram and shit like that. And he's like, people are like, you're a fucking fraud, like all this shit to him. And hey, he won double his money, right? Whenever he gets paid 15 to 15, he walked out of there with some extra bread. But everybody knows the real shit. You're not going to get support for getting elbowed in the back of your head, and it was just dumb by Jacob Malkoun. He didn't need to do that. But really, what really pissed me off is that I lost that bet because of that too. I lost an inside the distance because this guy fucking elbowed him in the back of the head, and I didn't even get a void. Could have used a void.
I can't get over the meow. That was crazy, but yeah, I feel like it should have been a no contest, man. I guess he did elbow him in the back of the head, and then Bisping Cruz kind of trying to differentiate if it was a forearm or an elbow, and Dom's like, no, it was an elbow. He might have landed with the forehead or the forearm, but getting hit in the back of the head in general is not good.
Miserable,
not good for your. Also, it makes me. It's one of the worst things you can do to really just set me off is touch the back of my head.
Yeah.
I do not like it whatsoever. I will just freak the fuck out. So, right after they kind of stopped action, Brundage, I don't want to say he looked fine, but he kind of did. And then he needed to take all the time in the world. They brought the doctor in here, and he's just sitting there against the cage. His body language was pretty much like, I'm not going to stand up.
He's going, no, like, I'm done. Like I don't care what happens. I don't care what you guys decide. I'm not fighting anymore. It's just like, wow. Like,
the ringside physician comes in the octagon, looks him in the eyes, for like 7 seconds, and then he's like, "Yeah, this fight's over. He's not fighting again." And then when they read off, I think Malkoun thought it would be a no contest, and then as soon as Joe Martinez read off the winner, he was not happy, and he shouldn't be. He shouldn't get a loss for that. You can say, "Oh, it was stupid." All you want. It was one shot. It wasn't four. Like how many times have we seen somebody land multiple shots to the back of the head? I'm trying to think of the one fucking really obvious one that was very recent, but I'm really having trouble. So whatever. Either way, I think it should have been a no contest. I don't think you can reward the guy for winning. Props to him for getting his win bonus and maybe getting another fight in the UFC. I mean, honestly, that's something Dana White will cut you. He does not care. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Jacob Malkoun got robbed. Kind of robbed himself partially, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I feel bad for Jacob Malkoun, but he did. He did kind of put himself in that situation by just doing that dumb shit. But like you said, like mistakes happen in these fights. You kick someone in the sack by accident, and they're like, "Oh, I can't fight." It's like, well, does that mean he loses too? Like I don't really agree with that. Being a win, like you said, I think it's a no contest if anything. But Cody Brundage, he'll get what's coming to him. He should not be in the UFC though. That's been made apparent. Like you said, just because he won this fight, it's not going to stop Dana from cutting him. I think he knows this guy's a waste of time and money, so he'll probably get rid of him soon. But how about Mo Usman? Never really even came close to finishing this one. Jake Collier looked a little bit more slim, I must say. He looked pretty good. Mo Usman looked pretty good here, and they looked both these guys looked like they were in good shape, but. This was boring as well too, so I really don't have much to say.
Yeah, Mo Usman has the him and his brother. They're tough. I'll give them that, but they do not react well and do not like getting punched. It appears they do not like it. Mo Usman, I think, is going to get knocked the fuck out brutally sometime soon. It just depends on whoever he gets. Maybe he gets Voltron. Maybe Voltron and Mo Usman got to run it up.
You mean the clean monster? His name's Volter. I've been schooled on this. He's 11-0, and it's coming.
Megatron right? Walker.
Megatron Walker. I can't wait for him to get in there, dude. That's gonna be a fucking spectacle. But listen, I'm not gonna sit here. Jake Collier probably shouldn't be in the UFC either. That's 4 in a row. Thanks for coming. Martin Boudet, guys like that, Chris Barnett and Mo Usman, you got to go. Andrei Arlovsky, even though he kind of won that fight. But, it's a loss. It's a loss, and we should move on. And I am in agreement. I think Mo Usman's it's coming for him soon. I don't know when. I don't know who. I don't know how. But somebody is going to take care of him in gruesome fashion, and it's going to be bad. So
Jesus, they're going to butcher him and his family like lambs.
Well, I'm just letting the people know what the real shit is. But how about Mizuki Inoue? You want to talk about scorecards? These were all over the place. This is one of the scorecards I had to look up because I was like, what did people think about the? I mean, I don't think anybody had the same thing. I think it was all over the place, all three of them. And she beats Hannah Goldie, which we kind of expected. I had the sub, which was a dumb bet, another dumb bet. I had another dumb bet, and this is just a dumb day for me, a bad day for your boy. But Mizuki, took care of business against Hannah, and that's that.
Yeah, Mizuki, I guess, dropped the Inoue out of her name. I guess you can just do that when you're an Asian fighter or an Asian.
So she's just Mizuki now.
Person. Yeah, just Mizuki.
All right, well, Tapology needs to step up then because they got Inoue still there.
Well, I don't know. Adelaide Bird, Junichiro Kamijo, David Letheby all had different cards. Adelaide Bird gave the first 2 to Mizuki. Kamijo gave 1 and 3 to Mizuki, and Letheby gave 2 and 3 to Mizuki. So they all just did it. No, they weren't sure. I mean, it was a pretty, Invicta, I guess. This fight probably should have taken place in Invicta.
Yeah, I think so.
The first 3 cards of this night were very, very non-UFC level, especially this one. This one's bad. I mean, Hannah Goldie, listen, she's jacked. She's pretty hot, I think, in a kind of weird way. Not weird way, but
if you're
she's just jacked as fuck. Yeah, she's cute for sure. And she seems fun. She seems nice. She seems like she fucking works hard. I heard she's awesome. She's really good in the gym, but when the lights come on, man, she's just painfully average.
This fight was so boring. It was just so boring.
Speaking of which,
Speaking of which, Montserrat Rendon, not to be confused with Anthony Rendon, gets a split decision against Tamiris Vidal. I had inside the distance. Another dumb bet. Another just dumb bet. You know what? I got to chill the fuck out when I do this podcast. I get lost in the sauce.
I was trying to tell you.
No, you were. And I was like, I'll win enough that these won't matter. No, I didn't. I definitely didn't. And this mattered, okay? I got fucking cooked on Saturday night. But you want to talk about cooked? I got cooked on that. And then my Irish lose on the last second of the fucking... you know what? All right. I'm not going to do that. But listen.
With 10 guys on the field.
10 guys on the field twice! But at the end of the day, Montserrat Rendon took care of business. You know what I did want to talk about from this fight is that I believe it was Kerry Hatley stopped the fight after Vidal got punched in her tit.
Yeah, that was.
And then like you hear Bisping and Cruz are like, are they allowed to? And I'm thinking in my head the same thing. I'm like, wait, is that a thing? Like I've never seen a girl. And you see Kerry Hatley like, no, we're going, get in here. And he's fucking Vidal's rubbing her tit like, oh shit, man, that fucking hurt. But what a boring fight this was, man. And Vidal stinks. The Rendon just won this fight off pure action and just kind of putting shit out there and landing head strikes as opposed to leg kicks. And that's kind of what won her the fight. I think Vidal won the first round, and I think Rendon won the last two. That would be my scorecard. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like they should definitely make it a rule that, you know, a low blow, a low strike to a man is similar to a low or high strike to a woman. Because I feel like that has to hurt. You know.
I don't know. I imagine getting punched in your tit hurts. Yeah,
I imagine your boobs and your balls are very similar in I can't think of the word. In fragility, maybe they're both very fragile. Like, I'm sure it hurts both. Anyway, also getting kicked in the vag, I'm sure also can't feel great. So yeah, maybe we should outlaw that. Maybe we should mess with the rule. It's funny because that like never happens for some reason.
I've never
somehow,
seen that happen.
or at least. But yeah, that you know, there you go. Also, Chris Lieben somehow giving Tamiris Vidal 2 rounds is just, I mean.
Yeah, I don't see. I saw the second round he gave her, I think, and that's where I was like, I looked at the scorecards and I was like, who gave? And I looked at Chris Lieben and I went, God damn it, man! Like, that's the one guy that we couldn't really, you know, like we can't really afford for you to be just giving out random scorecards like that. But, yeah, I mean, who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, who really cares? That was UFC Vegas 79. Performance of the night goes to Marina Rodriguez. Charles Jourdain also gets $50,000. And fight of the night was Tim Means and Andre Filao, however you want to say it. But I think that was worthy of the money. And this is a card that kind of we're going to forget about by next week. So it's just kind of unfortunate. Things just really didn't go its way, and it just kind of snowballed from there, and it just was ugly. But any Contender Series thoughts before we get out of here? I guess I know you got to you have a hard out here soon, but I didn't know.
Well, I do not anymore. Okay.
My
sister has left my ass stranded.
There you go.
I've been stranded, and I don't even know if I'm getting over to the Tampa now. So we'll see. I don't know what's going on. I have to
stay tuned
start from scratch. Stay tuned. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think the main event is going to be a banger for this. I have to tape this a little bit. I've had a brutal weekend. I haven't slept in ever.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm not too sure. Honestly, I don't have any thoughts. I think tomorrow I'll give you some thoughts. If we run it back, which I think we might. And
our Contender Series picks are for Twitter anyway, so that's I just wanted to, I didn't know if you had any. I mean, other than Sora Rockman Fraudolph, that was the only one that we really had some thoughts and opinions on. And here we go. There's a video playing on this fucking thing. I mean, are you kidding me?
That's just how it is.
Get out of here. Yeah, we're done. All right. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. Listen, Tapology, I have it fucking muted. Why do you play music and shit while I'm on the podcast? Why? Doesn't matter anyway. But how about it, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Matt McSweeney.
I am Capone.
And listen, guys, as always, set your units to a certain level and don't go over them, okay? Because sometimes you end up getting cooked on a Saturday night, and it ruins your Saturday and your Sunday, baby. So, and shout out to Taylor Swift showing up to the Chiefs game. We'll talk more about it tomorrow.
Go Birds.